We got to air it out. Let's air it out. So we got to air it out. Let's air it out. So
how you say that? Air it out. Air it out.
Air it out.
What's going on, guys? We are back with the Air It Out podcast, your favorite NFL podcast out there. I'm your host, Jerome Jones. We got Darren Braxton right over here. How you doing, Darren?
All good, chilling, getting ready for the, upcoming off season for our little guys I got. But other than that, kick back, relax, and wait for football, baby.
Mr. Coach, let's get some football back. And we got my man, Avery Collins, right down here. How you doing, my man?
I'm blessed and highly favored. I can't complain. You know what I'm saying? It's been a good long day, but it's been, been chilling. Awesome.
Definitely.
Me and playoffs start, so that's gonna be lit.
Yeah, for sure. So one thing I wanted to say before we get to our initial podcast, we was talking about it right before this is there's a saying that I read online that says Georgia's national bird is the mosquito, and I'm living that right now. I'm getting bit up right now, so if you see me swatting stuff during the podcast, I'm not just doing karate hands. There are literally like mosquitoes all over my room. So every comments know all about that, being a Atlantean himself. You
gotta get that eucalyptus oil, man.
Yeah, for sure. It's crazy. So I'm not used to this, as you guys may already know. I'm from Jersey. I'm a Jersey guy, wholeheartedly. All my life, Jersey guy, and just recently moved to Georgia, and I cannot stand these mosquitoes. But besides that, let's talk some football, man, because that's what we're here for. Let's talk some football, and let's get to our last conversation that we were talking about before. It's draft grades. I want to start off with the draft grades first. So we're gonna go into the AFC North grades right now and talk about those players and that got drafted, giving each team a draft grade. So in the North, we got the Steelers, we got the Bengals, we got the Ravens, and we got the Browns. I'm gonna start with Darren because his team is the Ravens, so this is his division. So I want to know what you thought about this division, and go.
We got my man. I've been waiting to say this, but we got him. We got him. We needed it. The guy is only 6 foot 190, but he plays like he's 6'2" and like 215, 220. The man is a beast at the catch point. And then not only to get Bateman at the 27th spot, but to get Owe at the 37th spot, I really like this guy coming out of Penn State. Definitely got to commend the Ravens for their first 2 draft picks. And then they also got Ben Cleveland, who's a mountain at guard. They got Tyler Wallace, who's going to be a sneaky great slot receiver going on in the future. And on top of that, they got a guy called Sean Wade from Ohio State, who 2 years ago was doing extremely well and looked like a future star. But when he moved to the outside, he had a little bit of trouble. But I believe we're going to get it right for him. And Ravens, for me, get a solid A. Solid A.
Of course.
But if I'm being realistic, it's more like a B+ B for them. Because they got what they needed, but they still could have addressed a few other positions, especially when it comes more to the pass rush, as we lost a lot during that time frame. Cleveland Browns honestly got a B+, A- for me because they addressed almost everything in the offseason to where when it came time for the draft, they were truly able to pick best available for what they just wanted. They needed depth at corner. They got Greg Newsome in the first round. They needed a long, rangy linebacker that can play that almost hybrid role. They were getting extremely, extremely good picks at the places they got them. So I definitely got to commend the Browns for that. They already stacked their defense up in the offseason. Now they hit it out the park with the draft. So definitely B+, A- for them. Bengals get a B for me. I really, really like the pick of Chase, but I honestly would have loved Floyd. I really think they needed to get more protection for Joe Burrow, being as though he's already been hurt in his first season. And you do not want to injure a guy like that, especially going to be a franchise guy. But like I said, Chase is going to be great. Chase will be a superstar in this league if he continues to develop the way he is. I do like what they did in the second round with going after another edge / kind of inside guy with Osu and an offensive tackle in Carmen. I know he plays guard, but I can see him going and kicking out the tackle. He does have a little bit of quickness, just enough to get and stop those pass rushers. So I definitely give them a solid B, maybe B plus, just because of the later rounds. And last but not least, Steelers, B plus. But honestly, it's hard to give them that. And they're only giving them a B plus because they got what they needed, other than really corner. I didn't really like their corner picks, but they got everything else that they needed. Outside linebacker help, tackle help, running back help, tight end help, center help. Positions that people were retiring, people that was important. They got guys that's young and can replace them on the cheap to help with that cap situation they got with Big Ben. So Steelers did an excellent job for me. As hard as it is to say. A lot of these guys did. So
the Ravens won the AFC North.
Yeah. But I gotta commend everyone else because they did a hell of a job. They hit exactly what they needed in good fashion. They didn't reach for anyone, and they got everyone at a great bargain.
Chris Thomas, thank you for being in the chat room. He said that the Ravens got an A, the Browns got a B plus, Bengals got a B minus, and the Steelers got a C plus. Roche in the 6th round was a steal from. I agree with the last part of that. Avery, what do you think about the AFC North?
Put Chris's comments back up there, okay? Because I want you all to know that I actually agree in large part with Chris and his assessment, and I'll give my breakdown. I don't agree with the Ravens getting an A. I'm not mad at the A. I actually gave them a B plus. So I'm not mad at the A, but that's 2 notches up from what I would have given them. I gave them a B plus. The Browns, I did give a B plus, maybe an A minus. I'm really still kind of torn there, but I definitely gave them a B plus. I think they had the highest as far as the AFC North. The Bengals, I gave a B, close to a B minus. And I'll get to that later in the second. In the Steelers, spot on. I'll give them a C plus. I didn't give them anything more, nothing less. So let's break it down. I think I'm going to start with the Bengals. The Bengals, obviously, not taking how Jerome loves to pronounce it, SeaWorld. Not taking Sewell there. To me, was just. I mean, I understand getting Jamar Chase. I understand it, right? You want to pair Joe Burrow with a guy that he's very comfortable with. You want to surround him with weapons. You want to make sure that all of those things are intact. But to Darren's point, he just got injured for the year. Why would you not take the best lineman in the class this year to keep him protected? Right? Mm-hmm. Now, the reason I didn't, completely, give them a flunking grade in their draft is because in the next round, again, Darren alluded to, they did take Carmen in the 2nd round. So they did get an offensive tackle. As he said, he played guard, but you can definitely see him bumping out to play tackle, and that's exactly what I think they'll have him do. I think he'll play tackle, going into the league. But not taking the best offensive lineman in order to take a receiver when you already had a couple of weapons and T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, I feel like to me it didn't make too much sense. But that's the reason that they got the grade that they got. I do but I like getting Joseph Asad from Texas. I think that was a pretty good pickup for them. Cameron Sample, I got to see him in the league. I think he has potential. I think he's got a high ceiling, low floor type. He's one of those high ceiling, low floor type guys. He can do a lot. I got to see what he does in the league. Next, we'll move to the Ravens. Like I said, I'm not mad at an A, but I don't think I would have given him an A. I think that's 2 notches too high. The highest I would give him is A minus. But right now I'm going to give him a solid B plus. The reason is obviously Rashad Bateman is a great pickup for them, but they would have rather had Jamar Chase or Devontae Smith. Everybody knows that. We all know this. So the fact that they weren't able to maneuver up in the draft to get that guy, to me, that knocks him down just a hair from that solid A that I was talking about. But Rashad Bateman is a great receiver. He's a big body guy. That's somebody that they truly needed. Obviously, Sammy Watkins is a bigger receiver, but he's on the tail end of his career, and he's been playing more of a third guy role the last 3-4 years in Kansas City. So it's like is he now going to be looked at as the number one, the number two? So we got to see what we're going to see from Sammy Watkins, especially in that offense that's a run first offense. Rashad Bateman has shown that he can block as well, which is a good thing, which will help in that in that offense. Ola was a really solid pick there from Penn State. That was a really solid pick for the Ravens. I think that's a really good one after losing Judon. I think that's the type of player that he is. He's a pretty good run stopping linebacker. I think that they kind of supplemented in that regard. Yeah, I mean, potential. Like I said, Ola definitely helps with the loss of Judon. Bateman, like I said, he can help, but again, we've seen receivers come out and not do too well, especially in a run first offense. That's my biggest concern, right? Now, if it was a situation where, like I said, they were going to get a Devontae Smith or Jamar Chase is easily the best jump ball and point of contact receiver in the draft this year. I think that's pretty much given. Devontae Smith is high up there when it comes to route running. So those two guys would have been the premier guys, especially in that kind of offense, which a lot of play action and different things like that. And then Lamar has struggled with consistency, but if you just put it up to Jamar Chase, he's shown I can go get it. That's the reason that I'm not sure. Wallace, I'm gonna have to see. Like I said, I'm gonna have to see. I'm not sleeping on him. I got to see where he fits because you still got Sammy Watkins. Now you've got Bateman, and let's not forget that you've got Brown as well. So where is he going to find himself? And then Lamar loves to throw the tight ends. So where does he fall in? So saying that they got 3, I would say 2 in a potential, 2 in a possible. But so that's where I gave the Ravens. The Steelers, like I said, I agree with that assessment all the way, C+. Right? I think the Steelers did okay. They were average and just a little bit above average. Getting Najee Harris, man, I think that's going to help them a lot, right? It supplements and replaces the loss of James Conner. Then you go and you get yourself a tight end. I don't think he's the best tight end in the draft, but you get yourself a tight end because obviously you want to have some weapons. Then you bolster the offensive line with your next 2 picks, right? I think that's
so wrong. Say that.
That's terrible, Chris.
Don't be surprised.
Out here wishing you sound like Darren out here wishing.
Right.
Anyway,
you don't wish it. It's a pattern, man.
Nah. So, but then you go and you get two linemen, and the next 2 picks. Obviously, you're realizing Ben is slowing down. Obviously he's a big guy, but you don't want him constantly taking hits. He is hard to bring down, but we saw the injury that he had the season prior. We saw this year that he was still kind of struggling with that injury, though they started 11-0 and different things like that. So you definitely want to help him, but I do still feel like that there's potentially some holes on that defensive side of the ball. Obviously losing Bud Dupree, that really hurt them the rest of the year. And different things like that. And I believe they lost White as well. Those 2 injuries were just catastrophic to their defense. So I think having potentially gotten somebody like a Micah Parsons to potentially back up, those guys or come in and spell or whatever might have been a little bit better for me, in my opinion, on the roster than, let's say, again, going after that tight end or even going after Najee Harris. I understand the Najee Harris pick, and I'm mad at it, but and then last but not least, the Browns. Like I said, the Browns, Greg Newsome, obviously, corner, it's a situation where they've got to prove themselves, right? You've already got a dog in Denzel Ward. He's proven that he's not going to back down from anybody. He can ball. So now you got Greg Newsome, who's considered probably a top 5 corner in this draft class. If he can pan out to be that, then you're looking at two really solid corners on the outside, coupled with the fact that now you've got Jadeveon Clowney and Myles Garrett rushing the passer. I think they did really good with that. Then they're getting Owosu from Notre Dame. I think he's probably the most underrated linebacker in this class. I think that was a really good pickup for them. Anthony Schwartz, I'm kind of, but I don't think they need too much at receiver, only because they've got Odell and Jarvis Landry. I like Anthony Schwartz. I think he's going to be a really solid player. Let's make that clear. But do I think he's a game changer? No. I don't think he's on the level of an Odell Beckham that's going to break a game open, a Jarvis Landry that can take a game over. But I think he's a solid guy who, he could definitely be a number 3. And obviously having Austin Hooper there, he can be that safety blanket. And so that's really good as well. I think I would have probably taken another running back just because we saw, what Kareem Hunt did when Nick Chubb did get hurt. But at the same time, if Kareem Hunt continues to do that, he's probably leaving. So you might want to, you might have wanted to get another running back to supplement that. But all in all, those are my draft grades. I would say the winners in that regard were the
Browns.
The Browns. Thank you. Thank you. I would say that.
I was paying attention. All right, I'm gonna be a lot less time, but I'm gonna start off with, huh?
that was subtle shade. I heard it.
It was a little bit, but I'm gonna start with the worst team. This team's draft wasn't that appealing to me, to be honest. They had some guys in the beginning, but it wasn't that great. So the Baltimore Ravens are not going to be the team. I had Darren nervous,
but it's fine. I love it.
I had Darren nervous, but no, it is going to be the Steelers. Simply because Najee Harris was a great pick. So this is the reason why I didn't like their draft that much, is because their picks were so Steelers picks. Like Najee Harris, yeah, that's a running back that has power that the Steelers always got, and the good thing about him is that he done very well this past year in the passing game. So I think he will be definitely a dynamic player in this league and with their the Steelers. Their second round pick was Pat Fairmount from Penn State, their tight end. He screamed Heath to me. I mean, not Heath, Heath Miller. Sorry, Heath Miller. He screamed Heath Miller to me. I was like, all right, that's such a Steelers draft. And then they get Kendrick Green with such a big body, offensive lineman, the type of offensive lineman they like. So I was just like, this is such a typical, Steelers draft. And then the back end of it, no name really jumped out to me. Quincy Roche, he was probably the best next pick they got, and he has a lot of flaws. He needs more pass rushing moves and things like that. Hopefully, I was about to say the Bosa brother now. TJ Watt can teach us some things with some pass rushing moves and things like that. But Steelers, I'll give them a C, a solid C. I don't think I'm going to give them a C plus. I don't think it's a plus yet. Their best player is Najee Harris, and if he definitely turns out to be a really good player, he could definitely be a help their grade a little bit. But we still don't know. He's still a rookie, so I can't just automatically just be like, one player is going to make their draft. Also, they didn't get a quarterback. Like, Ben Roethlisberger's like, what, 55 years old, and they didn't get a quarterback, like, at all? Like, I thought that was crazy. I thought at least they would have got a quarterback at some point.
I'm not mad at that, only because after the top guys, there were not too many quarterbacks. And why waste a pick on a guy that you're like, yeah, you're not going to play?
But it's the most sought after position in all sports.
Right, but at the same time, if you, like I said, every year it's this new guy. Oh, this is the guy. This is the guy.
No, you're right.
And there's always a plethora. And like I said, if you're sitting there saying, you know what, let's build, which is what they did. Like I said, after the first two picks, the next two picks were offensive linemen. Like, let's build the line for whoever we do next year. Because I definitely think they're taking a quarterback next year. But it's a situation where it's just like if you're not looking at anybody and saying, okay, yeah, no, he's not one of the top guys, but we see something, then don't waste a pick on it. It makes no sense.
I personally think they just still believe in not Doug Hodges, the other one, Mason Rudolph. I think that's a mistake, but that's just me. Maybe I don't know. Let's get to the next team, which are going to be the Bengals. So a lot of the stuff that you said, Avery, about the Bengals, I agree with the Chase, Jamar Chase, and I have a little bias with that because I was kind of hoping he slipped to the Eagles, to be honest. So I have a little bias in that, but I said this from the beginning. I think it was a mistake getting a receiver when you have a great group of receivers. Anyway, but I think it's also I think it would help, but I don't agree with what you said with the Jackson Carman. He's a guard. He's a guard to me, and just the fact that they needed an offensive tackle really bad, and they tried to conversate later on in the draft, like, all right, let's start drafting linemen, and I feel like all the linemen they got were like project guys. So in my opinion, I was not over the moon about their picks. I think they are going to try to make Carmen a offensive tackle. I think that's a mistake. I think he needs to stay a guard.
I agree
with that.
I agree.
But I do think like some of the other players they got are solid players. Again, Joseph Asai. I personally love Joseph Asai. He is one of my favorite players in this draft simply because his motor and effort is crazy. Like I watched him. I watched a lot of Texas this year for whatever reason. His motor is go, go, go kind of thing. He have obviously some flaws. That's why he was only in a third round pick. But the guy can definitely, become something really great. Then you double that up with Cameron Sample. I think we seen him at the Senior Bowl. I think he was one of those players that got a really good upside. And one of the things I hated about their draft, though, they drafted Chris Evans, and I'm a Michigan fan. They drafted Chris Evans instead of getting Jared Patterson. Like, what? Jared Patterson is such a better player than, and I'm taking anything from Chris Evans. I like Chris Evans. I think Chris Evans is a really good player. It surprised me that Chris Evans got drafted over Jared Patterson, and Jared Patterson went undrafted. It would just, this is a Michigan fan talking, so I don't know. That was weird. Sorry, Chris. I almost missed your thing. He said, so wouldn't have just helped mix Burrow, but Mixon also, yes. He's been killer on the offensive line because they cannot block for nothing. I totally agree. With that. That's actually a good point, Chris. I think thanks for saying that. And then we got the Browns. I'm sorry, I didn't give did I give? Yeah, I'm gonna give the Bengals a I'm gonna give them a B-. I think there was a good draft still, even the fact that we didn't like the fact that they got sold. I think they still had a B- type of draft. I'm gonna go to the the Browns. I'm gonna give the Browns a B+. I think they had a really good draft. I was a little confused on the Greg Newsome thing, simply because they had Greedy Williams, but Greedy Williams wasn't available either. So I understand, like, all right, let's get a cornerback that's not going to be injured, and let's have 3 good corners, and for the spread offense. If Greedy Williams stay healthy, and we got 3 really good starting quality corners possibly coming in. So after thinking about it, I was like, all right, let's do that. Denzel Ward been injured too, so I think that will definitely help them out, having that third guy just in case their cornerbacks can't stay healthy. Having JOK was a great pick. Obviously, there's some concerns about his heart, so that's why I put his grade a little bit lower with that, because I heard there's concerns about his heart. That's why he got drafted in the second round, 20th overall, when he could have been a mid-first round pick. Anthony Schwartz is a really good pickup, I think, for them. Give them assurance just in case they want to get rid of Odell Beckham. They already have Donovan People-Jones, who emerged late last year. He's a speedy guy that you could go down the field and stretch the field open. So I think that was a great pick. Tony Fields is a great linebacker. Richard LeCount, a really good safety that had injury issues and had some issues with that. And then Dimitri Felton, which was a wide receiver that had some versatility. So I gave them a B+. And real quick, the Ravens, I'm gonna give them a B+ also. You guys had a really good draft, so I will give you a B+ also. Rashard Bateman was the best pick you could have got. I know you've been talking about, and Avery probably cuts me off for taking long, which he was. But Bateman was definitely a great pick for you guys. I thought that he was an incredible pick. I thought that you guys picked him up. He was literally the best player you could have got, and I think y'all did really well with him, especially at the position you had. Brandon Stevens was a sleeper pick. I
Moving the safety.
I love that pick. I don't know about him being safety, but I like that. He might be.
I like him to replace Elliott. I like him to replace Elliott. Deep zones, can read the field. Yeah.
Yeah. And then one of my favorite picks, and again, go blue, Mr. Ben Mason. Not only because he's a Michigan guy, but the guy is versatile. Like when you see him, think Kyle Juszczyk, a guy that can catch the ball out of the backfield. I was kind of upset they didn't use him in that way at the Senior Bowl, but he can definitely do it. They was doing it during practices, and he looked very fluent with doing that. Chris can account to that. Ben Mason was a great pick, especially for an offensive, a running offense like the Ravens are. So I thought that was great. So that's my grades right there, and let's move on to the next one because Avery's about to kill me. Avery's like, I thought you was gonna. Yeah, I was talking that talk. All right, let's get to some wins and losses. So how many wins will the NFC East teams get this year? I'm gonna try to stay quick with this one because there's not much I have to say about this one. But I'm gonna start off with Avery. The NFC East, which includes the Eagles, my Eagles, I'm about to say Redskins, but the football team, the Cowboys, and the Giants. So Avery, let's hear your grades.
All right, so
your wins and losses.
All right, so I'm going to start with I guess I'll start with the Eagles. And I'll make it quick like this. I think that the Eagles are going to have a better season than people are projecting, but I still don't think it's going to be great, right? I think they missed the playoffs only because there's still some holes on that team, right? I think that there's still some things that they need to pick up. But don't sleep on Jalen Hurts. If Jalen Hurts pans out and plays the way that I know that he can play, then them making the playoffs wouldn't surprise me. But they've got a schedule ahead of them, man. So I'm just not sure. I'm going to say that I'll give the Eagles. Where is it at? Okay. It's two games that I'm torn about. And that's why it's all right. So I'm gonna say either. Because they got 17 games now. So I'm going to say either 6-11 or 7-10. Again, not completely horrible season, but I do think that there's going to be a hill that they need to climb. I think obviously opening the season against the Falcons, right? There's going to be a lot of firepower. You've got to, again, no more Carson Wentz. The last 4 times that the Eagles have gone to Atlanta, they've lost. So I'm assuming that the Falcons will win this game, especially with all the hype going into the season with Kyle Pitts and all those different things. But at the same time, our secondary got to prove that they can stop somebody, and you guys having Devontae Smith and oh goodness,
Rager.
Thank you, Jalen Rager. I don't know why I was about to say Brendan Ayuk. I'm like he's not on this. He's not on this. But they remind me of each other. and then you've got to go deal with the 49ers, who are going to be at full strength probably with some of the injuries coming back. The Cowboys is always a tough game. The Chiefs, those are 3 games back to back where I'm like, y'all might start the season 0-4. I just don't. I don't know. Like it's gonna be a hard climb out of that. And then you got the Panthers right after the Panthers. You go hit the Bucks. It's those are tough 6 games to open the schedule. So I'm just not sure. I would have to see it. Moving on, I'm going to go. Who do I want to go to next? I'll go to since I mentioned them on your schedule, I'll go to the Cowboys. Another team that again has so much talent. You just like your roster looks
every year.
But it's just like what is going on with this roster here? But long story short, again, I think that they have. I think they probably might have the most talented roster in the division, but I still think they got a ton of questions. Their schedule, they've got to deal with one of the teams that I think that's going to give them a lot of trouble is the Broncos with Bradley Chubb, Von Miller, those 2 corners on the back end. I think that's going to be something, and then they got to deal with the Chiefs as well. But and obviously Washington, the football team, they're front 4. But because of those are really the only ones I'm like, those are like the strong. I'm actually thinking the Cowboys might have a winning record this year, and I've got them winning 10 games. So I got them at 10-7. I think the Cowboys actually go 10-7, win their division this year. I think it's still going to be a close race, but I think they'll win their division this year because to me they've got the most proven quarterback right in the division right now in Dak Prescott, because you've got Daniel Jones, you've got Jalen Hurts, and then you've got maybe Tyler Heineke, right? Who we don't know who's going to be the starter for Washington just yet. So because they have the most proven quarterback, I'm going to give the Cowboys the edge to win the division. And that's the only reason. No other reason than the fact that they have the more proven quarterback in the league. Next, I'm going to move to the Giants. I think the Giants, again, I told you guys before, I love what the Giants did this offseason. I think they did a really good job. They've got to deal with, I believe they opened the season against the Washington football team. That's going to be a tough fought game. I'm not sure if they did enough to bolster that offensive line to deal with that vaunted pass rush, but we will see. But I'm actually giving the Giants the win there only because, again, I don't know what's going to happen with the quarterback situation in Washington. But their schedule, I'm looking at their schedule, and they've got a couple tough games, but none that I don't think are super like unwinnable outside of the Buccaneers and the Chiefs. The rest of them, I think they're doable, right? The Rams, I think that's going to be, and I'm saying this based on their roster, not based on what they did last year, but based on the moves that they made and what I'm seeing on the roster. So everybody, chill out. Don't be like, "What, the Giants suck." Like, yeah, I know they stink last year, but based on what their roster looks like, they should be better. But even with them being better, I don't think that they're going to be extremely, just taking a huge leap. I had them actually winning 9 games. So I have them going 9-8. I think that they're going to have a solid season. I think that Daniel Jones is going to take a step up. He's going to show some strides, especially getting Kelly Galladay if he can stay healthy, and different things like that. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the Giants win 9 games. I wouldn't be surprised if they won 10 and actually snuck into the playoffs as like a wild card team or something like that. I don't see it happening because I think if there was a team that was going to do that in the division, it would be the next team that I'm going to, which is the Washington football team. I think the Washington football team actually also win. And again, it's this one's a tough one because it's between 8 and 9 games for me. I'm not sure. I'm thinking I'm probably going to give them. I think I'm going to give them 8. The reason I'm going to give them 8 is because they have the toughest schedule out of anybody in your division. But I think because of what they do on defense, it'll keep them in a lot more games than you got. You know what? I'll take it back. I'll take it back. 8 is strong. I'm gonna give him 7.
Wow.
I'm gonna give him 7. 7 and 10. Because again, I'm just like I'm looking at their schedule and I'm thinking that they'll upset one of these teams, but I'm just not sure because I'm looking at the schedule and you gotta see. We're looking at you've got the Chargers, which is a winnable game, especially if you can put pressure on Justin Herbert and everything like that. So that's a winnable game. The Giants, winnable game. The Bills, that's a toss-up for me, right? The defense is good, but the Bills' offense is legit. Like they're no jokes. Then you got the Falcons, toss-up again. The front four, obviously pressuring Matt Ryan is going to be probably easy because the offensive line still needs work, but can your back end cover all of those weapons? I'll probably lean toward Washington winning that game, though. The Saints, again, no Drew Brees, so I'm going to give Washington that win. But then you've got the Chiefs, and then the Packers. Man, I just don't know. And then it's going to be the battle of the front four with the Broncos right after that. Then you've got the Buccaneers, the rematch of the playoffs. Then you got the Panthers, who I think you'll smoke. But then you've got Seattle. Listen, man, there's some games, like I said, there's games on their schedule where I'm like, they could go either way because of their defense, but it depends on the quarterback play. And that's the reason I'll say, you know what, I got to drop it down to 7 because if it was Alex Smith, I'd easily say 10 games. Easily. But because Alex Smith is retired, and I'm not sure who's it going to be, I'll say 7. So those are my win totals.
All right, Darren.
All right, I'm gonna make mine the shortest here. Let's go for 5 minutes, people. So let's start off with the Eagles.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, I'm just trying to give you details.
So it's cool. Honestly, mine's pretty close to yours, but I'm gonna pick my winner for last. And you'll kind of understand why I say these will be the winners. I'll start off with the Eagles. Eagles, I see 8 and 9 or 7 and 10. I really like Jalen Hurts, and I like what they've done. The offensive line should be well intact next year, and Andre Dillard is coming back for that left side. So that would allow them to have a great – I think they will very well on that left side, Andre Dillard there over who they had. Now, on top of that, I believe with Devontae Smith being the number 1 for Jalen Hurts, and possibly, if they can use them correctly, Jalen Reagor actually being used properly and exploding onto the scene, him and those speedy guys that they have with Quez and Hightower, and then on top of that, Zach Ertz will be gone before the beginning of this year. This is going to be the Dallas Goedert show in the inside. I really liked him when he was coming out, and I really like his development over the last few years. I think he can be that number 1 tight end for you guys, both in the running game and in the passing game. So Eagles for me are going to be sneaky good with that offense and the solid D-line. Guys have always had a pretty good solid D-line, especially with Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham over there.
And we got Kerrigan.
Hey, listen, Kerrigan is definitely going to help, but he's still going to be more of that rotation.
He's going to be in that rotation, though. He's going to be.
That's why I say I love the D-line. I still like that you guys have Slay. I still like that you guys have a decent secondary to where it's not going to be super torched. I would love to see a little bit more on the secondary side from you guys, but Eagles 8 and 9, 7 and 10. I definitely think that they're going to win a few games, and they will go 3 and 3 in the division. They'll split all their games. Listen, it's always competitive, and you never know in the NFC. Next, I'll put up the Cowboys. I have no faith in the Cowboys. I love Dak Prescott. I really do. But I feel as though when Dak comes back, he has a tough road ahead of him in his first couple of games, and he's not going to be fully 100% healthy. I know he has a plethora of weapons in that offensive line. It should be okay, but I don't trust that defense whatsoever. There's nothing about it that scares me. There's no one really that intimidates me that I feel like can be a true game wrecker on that defense. I love Parsons. I actually kind of like Lawrence, but I'm not scared of anyone on that defense. I feel like you can do what you want against them if you run the ball, pass the ball effectively. And many teams in this league can do that combo. So I do not fear the Cowboys defense. So that's why I'm giving them honestly a 7 to 10. Next, Washington Redskins are going to go 9-8. Yes, their division and their schedule is very rough for a good patch. But you gotta remember this, people. Fitzpatrick has weapons. He has Gibson coming out the backfield. Logan Thomas is solid. He's not great, but he's solid. And then you have now Curtis Samuels and Terry with Dynamo Brown, who I think would be a sneaky great selection there from the Redskins in that draft, in this past draft. Those three on the outside and the inside will be dangerous with the motions and everything that they can do. Plus the defense. Defense has always been good under Ron Rivera. Plus, again, Jamin Davis in that second level, that's going to be a great range guy for them. The front four is amazing. And the secondary is solid. It's not great, but it's solid. And last but not least, I feel like the Giants is going to win it. I'm sorry. I really do. 11-6 is my record I'm giving them, and I'll explain why. Yes, 11-6. They will sweep the Cowboys, and that is why they will win the division, because every other team will only go 3-3 other than the Cowboys, which will go 2-4. The Giants will go 4-2 in the division, and they will take the division from that. That offense is so loaded that if Jason Garrett does not unleash everything that he possibly can, that is the only way they do not do well. The defense has been solid, especially coming up late last year. The Giants defense, especially with Leonard in there, you still have Jabril Peppers in the back. They still have Bradbury on the outside, who's being the number one corner now. And I really liked Xavier McKinney, what he did late in the season last year. So I feel like they addressed a couple of different spots there as well. The only thing I worry about is Saquon Barkley's health coming back and that offensive line. That offensive line is always going to scare me because they never do enough for it. But if they can actually put that offense together, I got to say it again for you. Galladay, Tony, Slayton, Shepard, Ingram, and a healthy Barkley. There's not too many teams that's going to be able to deal with that type of lineup with that many weapons that can do too many different things.
A lot of
11-6. That's why I say I'm really betting on it. This is my hot take. 11-6, Giants win it, and I feel like Daniel Jones will throw for over 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns.
How many turnovers though? That's the question.
How many turnovers? This will be the best part. Less than 10 total.
Is that including fumbles?
Yes, less than 10 total. If they are able to run that offense the way they should, hand the ball off to Saquon Barkley, you have two short guys and Tony in the slot that can break it big. Galladay is a big guy that can hold on to it. Slayton's a good secondary receiver who can hold on to it. And Shepard is a solid third receiver in the inside with Ingram.
So you're saying it's Hot Take Thursday. Okay, got it. Cool.
You know what it is. 11-6, they win it. Daniel Jones, 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, less than 10 total turnovers.
Less than 10? So
total.
Listen, if he does that, I agree they'll win the division.
For sure. And every other team other than Dak does not have a solid, good starter or someone that you can truly trust, because you know Fitzpatrick will lose 2 or 3 games. He will lose 2 or 3 games just off of his interceptions. But he will win you 2 or 3 games for miraculous pace. So, not a
guarantee he's going to start.
I got him starting over Heineke. I'm sorry. I like what he did in the playoffs, but Fitzmagic always seems to know how to get on the field. When he gets on the field the first couple times, he's always great. Every year.
Is it my turn? It's my turn. Y'all know who that is? Skip Bayless. My turn.
It's my turn. You said it was my turn.
It's my turn. All right, let's get to my division. Here we go. All right, before I even go off on this thing, I want to say this will be the only time that the Eagles fans and the Washington fans should band together and find these schedule makers. I mean, 5 divisional games in a row to end the season. 5? That's crazy. All right. Now that I got that off my chest. All right, let's get to I'm gonna do the Giants first because I got the Giants right here on my screen. So looking at the beginning of the season, 2 winnable games. They got Atlanta the 3rd game, New Orleans the 4th game. Just looking at that, looking at the landscape of how their schedule is going to the rest of it, because I like to look at the schedule in segments. I like to do beginning, middle, and end. Because beginning of the season, you kind of figuring yourself out, the team, blah blah blah. Middle, you're starting to get your groove, and at the end, you should have a feel of how your team is and things like that. They're not beating KC. I just don't see them beating KC unless something catastrophic happens. Denver's a game they can possibly win. Denver got a lot of weapons now, so that's going to be. I think that's a really good game actually, especially for a first game. Them against Washington. Washington has a really good defensive line, and their Giants' weakness is their offensive line. So I'm going to say, with what I'm seeing here, and based on some of the things I'm seeing, I'm going to say ceiling for the Giants would be 10 wins. I think a floor will be about, I'm going to say 8 wins. That would be my floor for them. I think the Giants are going to be better this year, simply because their offensive line is better. Not great, but better. Saquon's coming back. I am very, very cautious with Daniel Jones because of the turnovers. Simply on the turnovers, because Daniel Jones, actually, I don't hate Daniel Jones. I don't think he's a terrible quarterback, but the turnovers are terrible. And sometimes he gets away, but he got more weapons now, so he has no excuses. So I want to see how that plays out for them. So I'm going to say, 10 and 7 is their floor. All right, let's get to the Cowgirls. Now, I'm mad at these schedule guys because out of everybody in the division that they could have gave 5 divisional games in a row, why didn't they give it to the Cowboys? Really? America's team? Oh, I want to see America's team. Well, give them the division games. Come on. All right, let me stop. I'm mad. All right, so the Cowboys are gonna get blown out the first game. I told you this already. You said this in the last podcast. So if you haven't looked at the podcast last week, go back, check that out on our YouTube channel. Humble plug right there. They got Tampa. They got the LA Chargers, and then us. In the back end, they got Washington twice, New York, Arizona, and us. Middle, they got Atlanta. They do have KC. I actually don't think their games are hard, to be honest. So I'm gonna give the Cowboys ceiling 11 wins. I'm gonna give their floor though 7 wins, and simply because they might actually start off slow, just because, like he said, Dak Prescott just coming off the injury. The team still kind of get together, and that defense. A lot of people think that defense is going to be a lot better this year, but you got to remember these are a lot of young players. They're going to be developing as they go. So, but I think they have I personally feel like they got the easiest schedule out of the whole division. I don't know why they keep saying the Eagles do, but I really think it's the Cowboys, to be honest. Just looking at it, I mean, they're gonna get, like I said, they're gonna get blown up by Tampa for first game of the season. They're gonna get blown out. They're just happening. It's just happening. But just looking at this landscape and as it's going, the only real threat I see they have, honestly, if especially if Dak gets back to form and get back to how he was last year, Kansas City. That's the only one I really see them, could really struggle with. And it all depends, again, that defense was not the greatest last year. So put them in a lot of positions, but also Dak put them in a lot of good positions, even though the defense was letting them down. So if Dak can get back to form, I think they could be good. So I actually gave a Cowboy a compliment this year. As much as I hate to say that. All right, let's get to the Washington team. All right, let's do that. All right, Washington.
I'm proud of you.
Great. You proud of me? I'm not proud of myself. I'm kind of mad at myself right now. Anyway, Washington. I think they're gonna be the best team of this division. Well, second best. Second best. We'll see who's number one. I think they get 12 wins. I think Fitzpatrick is gonna be enough for them.
12.
That defense is gonna be good. That defense is probably top 10 defense in the league. I really think so.
Good enough for 12.
Good enough for 12.
12.
That's the top though. That's the top. I think their floor is 9 wins. I think the floor is 9 wins. Simply because Fitzpatrick can be floppy sometimes. So he can easily give you 8 wins and he can easily give you 9 losses. So Fitzpatrick is the common thing. They do have Green Bay. They do have Kansas City. They do have Tampa Bay.
Back to
They have Seattle. Yes, back to back. They're gonna lose those 2 games. That's just, and I think they're both away. If I'm not. No, they're both home actually.
Those games.
No. Kansas City, they're home. They're at Green Bay. So
they're all gonna be hard games no matter where they're at.
Yeah, but it's really gonna depend on those last 5 games. Like I said, that last stretch for both the Eagles and the Washington team is going to be a doozy. But if anybody can do it, honestly, I think it's the Washington team, because at the end of the year, you really start depending on your defense a lot more than your offense. So I'm gonna give that. All right, give my Eagles. Let's talk about my Eagles. We're going 6-0 in the division. The second best quarterback in the division, Mr. Hurts, is going to be the best player in this division because Dak is going to be hurt. So Jalen Hurts is going to be the best player. Ceiling for the Eagles, 16-0. No, I'm joking, guys. No, very realistically, the Eagles going to have a tough one, man. And I said it before the season started. You guys, if you listened to me before, I'm very hopeful, but I'm not optimistic about Jalen Hurts. I thought he should have been a 3rd or 4th round pick, to be honest. We have that long stretch at the end of the season. That's going to be rough. We have the Chargers. I think the Denver Broncos are going to be better. New Orleans are probably going to be ready to give us something this year. We got Kansas City early. We got Dallas early. We got Atlanta. Even though I think they're going to win that game because I'm going to be there. But we got San Fran, who's going to be want to come back on that game. So this is I'm gonna say the ceiling for us are 7 or 8 games, like you guys said. I totally agree with you guys. I think the floor will be about 6 games, though. I don't think we're gonna lose more than 6. I don't think we're gonna not win more than 6 games, though. I think we got 6 possible games that we can win, which brings up around what we had last year. So that's what I think about the East. Realistically, I just think that the Eagles is kind of in a rebuild kind of mode right now. We're gonna see how that goes, but I'm very hopeful. Hopefully I'm wrong, but it is what it is.
I will say this: Jalen Hurts will be responsible for 30 touchdowns this year.
I hope that, because if everything goes to plan, the Eagles gonna have 3 first-round picks next year, and we don't have to worry about quarterback. You can just build around on Jalen Hurts. That's what I want. That's what I'm hoping for. I hope Jalen Hurts. I like the kid. He's a great kid. Nothing against him at all. So I wish all the best for him, and he's on my team. So I do wish the best for him. But I just from pre-draft, based on what I seen in the Senior Bowl, even based on what I seen last year as a starter for the Eagles, I'm not 100% convinced yet. Yeah, we'll see. He might. Yeah, he's saying all the right things. He's working out. He's doing all that off-season stuff. So we'll definitely say. But Darren, you had one more thing to say before we get off?
Yeah, I can honestly see that happening with Jalen Hurts. I can see 30. You got 23 passing, 7 rushing. Sounds a little bit more like his college days almost. The touchdowns are way down, especially his last year at Oklahoma. But it's definitely his style of play with being able to run and pass the ball pretty accurately. He's never been that deep guy, but he can get the ball to where it needs to be, especially if it's short, quick, and quick reads for him.
Definitely. All right, guys. Well, that would definitely do it for us today, guys. We do appreciate each person being in here. Thanks, Chris, for being one of our commenters for today. If you are on here and you're going to watch later, please make sure you like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. All our videos will be archived on there. Definitely go and check that out, man. And if you can, go check out some of our previous episodes where we talked about, other draft grades and things like that on there as well. And we talked about the schedule last week. So definitely check that out at YouTube on Inside the Hatches. Definitely follow us on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, Inside the Hatches, and our website where we have all our content, gaming, our podcasts, our interviews, our blogs, all of that is all under one roof, InsideTheHatches.com. Also, check out all our player interviews on our podcast platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Anchor. Go check that out. Inside the Hatches as well, where we find a lot of players we talked about all on there, including my man Ben Mason from the Ravens. We did interview him. So thank you guys so much for checking us out. We will see you next week, next Thursday. You guys have a great holiday weekend, and we'll see you next week. Peace. Matt Ryan for president?
Nah.
Not today?
Always big trust, baby.
Matt Ryan for president, as always.